Hi guys, it's Jamie here. As I'm already decorating the black and white themed journal for a giveaway on this channel, I thought I would create a series not just about the black and white journal, but called Inspiring Ideas, which are more short videos of little things I'm doing to decorate the journal. So starting today, we're going to be making some labels in a homemade manner. I have some label stamps. This one I picked up in a charity or thrift store for 30 pence, which is about 50 US cents. And as you can see, it's quite a big label. Most of mine are very small. Ones that I've owned for years are very, very small. This one is more the size that I would be looking for if I wanted to put a quote in or a prompt or something like that into a journal, which is what I'm thinking of doing. Do not worry, we will not be relying on my handwriting. It doesn't matter if things stamp up perfectly or not. These are junk journals, so anything that doesn't stamp up well, it's still fine. So as you can see, this probably needs more ink putting on it than I put on. So I'm going to bring the ink pad to the label this time and see if that helps get more ink on there, which it obviously is. With the smaller stamps, I prefer to use the sponge because I don't want the ink getting everywhere. But with this bigger stamp, just coming in with the ink pad seems to be working okay. Let's try that again. I know we're getting a bit of a print of this one, but to get it to stick, I sticked it down and now I can't get it off. I know you should use water, but I was sick of the thing falling off, so I might need a new acrylic block in future. See, this one still has lots of ink on it. I should really try and get that off, and then I may have less of a problem. Let me just get a baby wipe. So this still isn't coming up on this side. I still don't think that matters particularly, but let me just try and clean this one up. So if you're not used to ink stamping, don't go out and buy loads and loads of new ink stamps and pads and things. You can get cheap pads. You don't need the expensive ones. You can get cheap pads from eBay, Amazon, AliExpress, etc. Stamps the same, or just keep an eye out on your Facebook Marketplace pages. Your craft shops often have sale bins of ink stamps, and you're looking with junk journaling for less of that happy birthday type stamps, and you're looking more for just designs and patterns that you might be able to use. Background stamps, which are lovely, I have got some from AliExpress, means that you can actually create papers with ink stamping, so you don't have to keep buying somebody else's design or printing, which is quite expensive at home, printing downloads that maybe you've purchased. So it's all about, with me, junk journaling, trying to find ways to not be cheap and do things on the cheap, but to be cheap and do things on the cheap. To try not to spend too much money. The point of junk journaling is to create with what you have, and then if you enjoy it as a hobby, maybe occasionally buy yourself something. See, that just moved because it's water only. I'm going to try rocking it this time. Like I say, I'm not the best ink stamper in the world, but I'm hoping maybe rocking it might get a... No, I'm still not getting very clear. And this is still stamping black. How bizarre. Doesn't matter though. Right, can I get any more on this page? Possibly I could get a second row, which would be good because I don't like to waste paper because it just ends up in the scrap pile. And when things end up in the scrap pile last night, I gave it a new box because it was overflowing so much from the old box. It needed a deeper new box. I do not go out and buy special storage. I just use boxes from Amazon, cut round them and make them into storage. To me, this is all part of the process, and if you want to create and buy new storage, do so. I looked at some of these storage solutions and thought, yeah, no, I'm not spending £50, 60, $70 on some fancy drawer system when I could just have cardboard boxes on shelving. Another thought I had was you could get old chest of drawers that people really don't want, you know, the in-between war utility chest of drawers that are wood. If you wanted to, you could paint them up if you had a specific room. But then chest of drawers are nice deep drawers, and you could divide them up and have storage in chests of drawers. There's no reason why you have to have office style furniture or craft room style furniture. It's just my thoughts. It's getting better the more I use it. Maybe it's just the residue ink is staying on a bit more between each use. I don't necessarily want hundreds of labels with butterflies, but we'll go with this for now because it is the biggest label I have. And then we'll go on to stage 2, because it's not just me stamping a piece of paper endlessly, you'll be pleased to hear. See, that's much better. This is just printer paper from Amazon, really, really cheap, 500 sheets. Almost see-through, it's so thin. But it is fine for what we're doing. So again, you don't have to go mad spending loads of money. I do have some better quality paper as well, but when it's going on top of things, you actually, the thinner, the better, because otherwise you're going to bulk up your journal too much. Now, this may be quite hard to see because it is portable and has a lid on it, and I'm not sure I can move my camera enough, but as you can see, I have purchased, for the grand old price of £20, $30 a second-hand old-fashioned typewriter as my label and quote maker. What I'm going to do, because obviously this will not video properly, is I'm going to show you how I'm going to make the quotes and then go off camera and do it and come back when they're done. Things I happen to have given as Christmas gifts or whatever to me is these sort of books. Now you could just cut them up and use them, but I thought it'd be quite sweet to just take some of these and type them into those labels. I also have like affirmation cards, and you find these things even in second-hand shops. You don't have to go out and buy them specially. I think I was given these. I even have like little tiny journals that I've never used that again are for 5-minute journaling, which is quite a nice idea for people who don't journal. And again, there may be something in here I could use as a quote, and cite the source, of course. I've typed up a few, some on the coffee stained paper and some on black and white for the black and white themed journal. I'm not very good at fussy cutting, so the one tool I would say, if you don't like fussy cutting, that is really, really handy is a fancy pair of edgy scissors. You can just tear as well, but sometimes that isn't the look you're looking for. And then you can just roughly follow the shape of the border, and where it hasn't even printed up particularly well, that's also helpful. It's just a question then of grabbing the ink stamp that you used, or an alternative, you don't have to, and edging it. So let's edge it in something a bit different. There's no reason for this, but just sometimes it's nice to do something a bit different. It doesn't always have to be edged in browns and blacks. You can bring a spark of colour into things. In fact, I need to show you at some point some of the journaling cards I made yesterday, which I didn't video, for the black and white journal. I'll do that in a second. That have colour in them, even though it's a black and white themed journal, but I'll show you how I'm doing it, because you might like that. Let me just finish going around here first, and then I'll try to remember what I've done with them. So these again were the revision cards, the physics revision cards that my son no longer needs. Scraps all around, inked up in black, all greys, printed up any pictures I wanted in greys. But this one is pencils, so just adding colour with pencils. And with this one I added colour with gel pens. And then with this one I added colour, I'm going to put a little shiny thing. What do I want? Diamante on there to highlight that a bit more. So this one I added colour just with a fussy cut out butterfly. This one was a coloured piece of paper, so I've added it to that one. I'm not so keen on this one. I probably should have edged that. That might have made it look better. This one is all black and white with no colour added, but it's from Alice in Wonderland. It's the White Rabbit and the beginning of the first chapter. This is from a digital I purchased, which is an Alice digital, as is this one. And again, the colour here is actually in the digital paper, so that really took not a lot for me to put together. And then on the back, it's just journaling spots, but actually these are book pages, and they're the blank bits of the book pages, you know, when it changes chapter and things. So again, not wasting any proper paper, so to speak. And this time I just put a freebie that had been given and attach that just to make it a slightly different. This one you can see this, so that's only your only journaling spot. So, and you can in places see the original card that was under here. I don't think that matters, it's a junk journal. So that's some of the black and whites that I did using bits of colour, and I mentioned that because I said you don't always have to stick with traditional vintage creams, browns, beiges, golds. You can add colour and it still has an impact and still looks vintage and junk journaly to me. You may disagree. Right, we were going to do some ripping, so let's see how this goes. Let's get this one. I did some on generosity, and this one's a question, this one's like a affirmative thing. There's not a thing wrong with you, you're right all the way through, and then the person that said it. This one is a question, which is like a journaling prompt. What sparks the light in you? You may or may not choose to answer that if you ever receive a journal from me. This is on coffee dyes, so this won't be going into the black and white journal unless I make this the focal point of something, a page, in which case it probably could actually go in, because if the background is black and white, then this can go in at the top. You see, I'm already messing this up, so I don't think tearing it's the easiest personally, but we'll keep going. I'm doing little tears because I don't trust myself with going too fast with this. I've already hit the edge and gone over the edge on one side. Oops, and I'm doing it again here. Let's go this way. So yeah, tearing, I like torn things, but you see this is too spiky to me because I'm doing it little. You get less spiky hilly bits if you do big tears, which I wouldn't want to do on this because the lack of control. Just try and get some of these pyramid-y shapes gone, and then this is not as close as the rest, so I better bring that in closer. You've got another little pyramid shape now, and now I've nicked something out of it, but let's just edge that up. It might look okay when it's edged, that's the other thing. And even if you're not 100%, if you're giving a journal to someone else, it doesn't mean they're not going to be 100%. That is brown, good. I keep putting these on my worktops, nothing to protect my worktops. Bit dumb, because I'm now getting little round, brown, black and coloured circles on white worktops. Luckily, they are years and years old and I'm not worried about it because I'm moving house in a few years and that is something that would be skipped anyway. I just edged that one in the traditional sort of brown colours. I think this is espresso, and I think that may even be a Tim Holtz distress ink, which is one of the more expensive ones, inks that you can buy. So there's that version, and then of course there is the cut it precisely version if I've got a pair of scissors. And this is why I don't like doing this, because often it's actually quite difficult to cut that precisely, and where it should be curved it ends up a little bit spiky. Well, it is for me anyway. Other people may be absolutely excellent at this, and that's fine. So I'm sure that you This is just so you can see the difference between the different techniques and the speed difference to a certain extent as well. I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible but be accurate, and that's the difficulty of, to me, fussy cutting, particularly if you've got a lot to do. Or I could do a journaling card a day and by the end of August I'd have 30 done, which is not bad, but there are other things to do to a journal than one journaling card, which is why this one isn't even printed up properly here, so this is not going to match that. So that was a bit of a mistake to do that, because now I think I'm going to have to fold the whole thing in half and copy round it, which I should have done in the first place really. Okay, we will do that. One way to rescue going in and out of black lines is just to edge it in black. So that isn't an issue, that you're cutting into black lines, or sometimes you're not right on the black line, because if you re-edge it in black ink, that will resolve that problem. The problem that isn't going to be resolved is how different that one is to that one, or maybe they're not. Oh no, they're okay. Right, I can get away with that. And then this is the final version of this idea of mine, that you could create your own labels using a very cheap vintage typewriter. And don't forget, people selling them on eBay may well be selling them as antiques and think they have more value than they do. So keep an eye on Facebook Marketplace, because often locals are not eBay traders and they think, this old typewriter, who's going to want it? Everyone has a computer. They don't understand that people like junk journalers exist who actually want an old typewriter because they want that effect. Well, I want that effect. I want the effect of the old type. Computer prints too clearly to me for a big quote in a junk journal, unless you've bought it specially made and designed. You could do this on any colour paper, edge it any way you want, lay it and mount it, for example, on different papers, so it becomes central to a journaling page or a journaling card like that. These are bought papers, by the way, but they were very, very cheap from AliExpress. Thank you for your time today. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, comment, etc. It all helps the channel. If you're interested in winning the flip envelope journal thingy, black and white theme that I'm making, then you do need to be a subscriber and you do need to have watched and commented on 3 videos to take part. I will be going back through all my videos to see how many people have commented more than 3 times and if they are subscribers, and then those names will be the ones that are entered into the hat, the grand draw, if you like. The flip journal has 28 envelopes. I am stuffing them full of ephemera and journaling spots and notebooks, all made over the next month. It is going to be a beaut, to be honest. I mean, it may not be designed beautifully, but it's going to have a lot of stuff in there for you. Okay, that's it for now. I will check in with you on another video very, very shortly. Bye.